Hey guys, and welcome back to the third and final episode of the Behind the Scenes The Honest Gamer. So the first one kind of went into what I do, and I gave you guys a tour of the game room. The second one, I talked a little bit about why I chose The Honest Gamer and why I run the blog and the channel the way I do. This time I'm going to give you guys a little sneak peek on how I run everything. So I'm just going to kind of break it down into the few areas that I have and show you what steps I go through for the whole thing. So let's go check it out. Alright, so the first step, no matter which one I'm doing, whether it's a full review, a quick review, or a let's play, is I've got to pick a game. Now, I don't really have a kind of system or code or anything that I go by to pick out the game. The only rule that I really give myself is I try to not bunch together the same system next to itself. So, for instance, at the time of shooting this, the last full review I did on the blog was Paper Mario Thousand Year Door on GameCube. So, for the next review I do, I'm going to avoid GameCube altogether. Other than that, there's really no process that goes into it. The Let's Plays have the easiest one. I try to focus those on things that I haven't played before, so that way I can not only show you guys a little bit of the gameplay itself, but give my honest first opinion reaction to playing the game for the first time myself. So for the full reviews and the quick reviews, it kind of just focuses on the length of the game. The quick reviews, I try to keep them to the shorter, arcade stuff that you don't really actually get to beat, you just progress through the levels, or if it is beatable, it's a really short one. So predominantly you're going to see, original Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Sega Genesis there. Once you hit N64 and PS1, it's kind of 50-50, because that's when games started getting a little bit longer to beat. So there's still some quick runs, but there's still also the full play and beat the story ones. And then after you hit PS2, Xbox Gen, pretty much any of the quick reviews I do, they're going to be like, the racing games, the sports games, or anything really, really short and simple like that. And then the full reviews is pretty much just everything else. And then I want to show you guys really quick. The one rule that I use is, so the main rule that I go by is how long does it take to beat. Generally, if it's beatable in 4 or 5 hours or less, I'll throw it into a quick review, and if it's longer than 5, then it gets a full review. And the way that I determine this is actually this site here. It's called howlongtobeat.com. You pretty much just go in here, you search for any game you want, and it'll break it down right over here. So if I'm not sure about a game, that's kind of where I go to look it up. Because obviously I can't know how long the game is until I play it myself. So I kind of want to know what I'm gearing up for. So what I'm going to do right now is, since the end of this week I'm going to only be doing a couple of quick reviews, I'm going to pick one out for you guys right here. So I'm going to go PS2, because like I said, I did GameCube on the last one. And I'm going to pick... Hopefully you're not going to kill Yoshi. We're going to do Jet X2O on the PS2. Never played this one before. Looks kind of fun. I got it in a massive lot that I picked up a while back, so we're going to check it out. So for the full reviews, these two things here are pretty much my keys to getting through them. I've got the binder here. On the front here is just kind of a little thing that I gave myself kind of guidelines of what things I want to look for the specific areas where I break it down. Obviously we got the story and the controls. These are the different areas I look for the gameplay. We've got the style of the game, is it a shooter, platformer, that kind of stuff. What kind of enemies, how do you learn the moves. And this is just all little quick note things that I look for. I will show you guys one that I have. See, I did Rocket Robot on Wheels. So I've got the story broken down there, what the controls do, all the gameplay and the challenge and everything on the back. And then once all this is done in here, I go here to Blogger and I write it. So it's a pretty simple process for the full reviews. Like I said, I'll usually, especially with some of the older games, it kind of gives you the intro title slides for what the story is, and you can usually find a screen that has the controller layout, so I'll kind of grab those right away and then just kind of take notes on the gameplay as I go through it. And then the thing I like to do for the full reviews when I'm writing them is I try to not jot down my pros and cons, because I like that to kind of be a reflection type of thing when I'm writing the review. You know, I'll get to that section and be like, you know, what did I like about this game? What did I hate? The quick reviews is pretty much the same process. If you follow the blog, you'll notice that the quick reviews are basically a Cliff Note version of the full ones. That'll just talk about what's good and what's bad about it and if it's worth it. A lot of those I don't actually take down the notes because of how fast the games typically are. And again, just like with the pros and cons for the full reviews, I kind of like to make that be a reflection point of the game. You know, what did I like, what did I hate? So that's pretty much it for how I do the reviews for the blog itself. So I'll show you guys really quick kind of what I do setup wise for the Let's Plays, and that'll be it for this. Alright, so the Let's Play honestly probably have the most in-depth process of what I do. Again, I wanted to not do anything flashy for the channel. I wanted to make sure the focus is on the game and not me or the video itself. So the first thing I usually do is after I pick out the game, I'll sit down and kind of talk about it a little bit. Kind of hard to do at the beginning because I've never played it before. But I'll usually just kind of mention where I got it from, where I heard about it or whatnot, and can't show you with the camera because I'm using it right here, but it'll be set up on this tripod. I actually had this tripod as a kid. My dad gave it back to me a few years ago before he passed away, so it's kind of cool to have that back. And it points over at this chair. Obviously there's a little obstruction in here. I've kind of been reorganizing, and this stack and this stack are all pickups that have to get sorted and put away. But yeah, I'll have the camera there, I'll sit there, I'll talk, and then I'll come over here and I'll pop the game into whatever console it's going into. And then this tripod ends up here, facing the TV. You guys have probably seen this image before, the reflection that I can kind of do nothing to avoid. And then that's where I'll sit. I'll sit back here on the couch and play it for a little bit with the camera right there. And then after I'm done playing, I'll kind of knock this a little bit back to widen up the shot some more. And I'll sit there on my little TV host stool and talk about the game a little bit more with it in the background. That's where I react to it. And that's kind of where I sign off. Sometimes I'll come back over here to sign off. But yeah, that's the whole shebang. Like I said, I didn't do anything too in-depth for it. I wanted to make sure all the focus stayed on the game, not me. So that's all of it. So as you saw, I picked out the next quick review. Should be up in a couple of days. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the little sneak peek behind the scenes of The Honest Gamer. I'm sure I'll start doing more of these once I add more things to the channel, which is coming up if you watch the announcement video. So, I will probably see you guys back on the channel after Thanksgiving. So, hope everyone has a great holiday, and game on.